When I started this project, I thought I already knew what the end result would be. I believed I would find that my grandparents are very religious, my mom is spiritual and practices her spirituality often, and my sister and I are pretty lost when it comes to religion. I thought that there would be an increase in Catholicism in my family over time because Rhode Island has the highest percentage of Catholics out of all of the United States, with 42% of people being Catholic. However, the Pew Research Center study that shows this also shows that there has been a decrease in Catholicism over time, a trend that is prevalent in my family. Some of my expectations were met during this project, but the answers I received weren't so black and white, especially in terms of my grandparents' religious experience.
We didn't go to church every Sunday. My mother was Protestant and my father was Catholic. But when my father took us to church, we had to go. We didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
And my mother didn't push it. She was Protestant, so she'd go to the Catholic church when she felt like it. But she never had taken us to the Protestant church.
I never knew that my Nana was Protestant at one point in her life, but I still discovered that she had the most radical Catholic religious view in my family.
I think once you're a Catholic, you're always a Catholic. Once you're raised a Catholic, I don't think that changes. I don't know if they just drill so much fear into you. You figure you'll go to hell if you change your religion. I don't know. But that's how it was.
Both of my grandparents were raised to practice their religion in their childhood.
Matter of fact, we were altar boys. Good. A couple of us were altar boys. And we continued, almost like you said, went through the religious classes, make the communion, the confirmation. And then when the kids, we brought up our kids, we just expected them to be Catholic, and we had them baptized, and we just continued that way.
They chose to raise my father and their 3 daughters differently, and I was surprised to hear religion wasn't something they tried to force on their children.
With our children, they did the first communion, and Dana just cried and cried, your aunt, and she didn't want to go to confession. She says, Mom, I didn't do anything wrong. And after a while it wore me down. And I said, well, if they don't want to go and make their first communion, that's fine with me. I didn't push it again. So, yeah, it's changed.
My mom didn't force us to be religious and barely introduced it to us as children. I think part of that had to do with how she was raised.
I was baptized when I was young, baby, in a Protestant church. And I went to Sunday school up until I remember going strong until I was about 8 years old, maybe. My father went to church and my mother didn't always, but some of us kids did. And then as I was the youngest of 5, and as time went on, at 12, me and my father were the only 2 out of 7 people in the family going to church. And I liked the minister that was there at the time when I was about 12. And so I used to go to the adult one and not the children one anymore. And then he moved the minister, and I started ice skating on Sundays between 9 and 12. So by 12, 13, I'm pretty much done with church growing up, except for special events. But even with that, I was pretty much, didn't really stay committed to the church I grew up with.
Despite the fact she stopped consistently practicing a religion after she turned 13, I was still somehow baptized Catholic and eventually chose to pursue that religion on my own to find some answers and comfort after a family death.
By the time my children came along, we were going to a Congregational church that I really liked the sermons. We both liked, and then the minister was having an affair with some woman in the church, so that kind of stopped us from doing that. The Unitarian church I had liked was far from where we were living, and we didn't go to church until Melissa, at 8 years old, said she wanted to be going to church, be closer to God, and wanted to be Catholic. And so from that point on, we started the process for the two kids to go to catechism, to get education with the Catholic Church, and to participate in a local church that I liked. And that's about it.
I am definitely not Catholic anymore, but by choosing to pursue that religion, I had the opportunity to go to Catholic schools and get a really great education. Experiencing loss at a young age helped shape my need for religion, and the mixture of my mom's lax spiritual beliefs and my grandparents' rather conservative religious beliefs have made me question which one is right. I guess I don't believe that there is a right or wrong religion, but I do know that both of those practices are wrong for me, and I haven't found the right one yet.